Hello everyone, welcome to Minecraft 1.21.4, the Garden Awakens update. Drop. Yeah, welcome. This is the brand new drop that has been released on December 3rd, which is today when I'm releasing it. Hello. And yeah, we're gonna cover it. It's moderate size for a drop. It's probably our biggest drop so far, but drops in general are usually pretty small compared to updates. But yeah, let's just get into it for now. Alright, let's start with the Pale Garden biome. Ooh, spooky. I've done a little demo of basically what this could look like by if you don't recognize, this is the original update room from like the Bundles of Bravery drop. I worked a little too hard on it and I just gave it a little spookified view of a pale garden. But yeah, for the most part, it's actually just going to be made up of these pale oak trees, which is a variant of dark oak trees. Surprise, surprise. And it'll be covered in the ground with pale moss, pale carpets, and these eye blossoms, which will change depending on the night or day. So it's very pretty. It's a very serene biome, very quiet. I like the particles, the leaves, particles. The ambient sounds actually come from the blocks, specifically the pale hanging moss. And they'll only really activate if you have the pale hanging moss on like pale oak leaves or pale oak logs. Otherwise it won't do the ambience. There's also ambience from the creaking heart, which we'll go over later. And that has its own set of sounds. But yeah, all these sounds you're hearing right now are all just from the pale hanging moss. So if you want to bring those to your base, you can do that. You just have to hang your hanging moss on a pale oak leaf. But yeah, basically for the pale oak trees, you can get pale oak logs, which can get you these beautiful white pale oak blocks that I've scattered all across the room. As well as the pale oak leaves, which generate the particles and also help with the ambient sounds. And this is also the only real place where you can find the creaking heart right here, because they only generate in naturally generated pale oak trees, but you can craft them, so they're not finite. But yeah, I don't know if this one has. I don't think so, because I bone mealed this one into existence, so it shouldn't really have one. But next, the other things that are in this biome are the pale hanging moss, which is right here, obviously very nice. You can't climb them, unfortunately. You need shears to mine them. And as well as just the normal pale moss and the pale carpet. These are very nice, and the pale carpet actually has a unique trait where you can kind of place it on the side and it'll grow onto like the block nearby, and it can grow up to 2 levels. Personally, really nice block. Might do something with it in the world. But finally, the last thing that you can find in the pale garden are the eye blossoms. Now there are 2 variants. There's the open eye blossom and the closed eye blossom, and these basically interact with each other. So right now it's day, so they close up, but if they're nearby others and they're currently in the wrong state, the others will say, hey buddy, you need to close up, and eventually this one will close up. I'm not going to show it, but it is it's very cool when it's more natural. I just placed this one down, so it's probably going to be very weird, but naturally, yeah, it closes like that. So they're actually different flowers, and each one has like a different property. For example, the open one actually crafts into orange dye, while the closed one crafts into gray dye, and they also have different suspicious stews effects. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, the open one gives blindness, while the closed one gives nausea. So just take that with a grain of salt. I don't really know. I didn't really check. Moving on, let's go on to the creaking. So we have the creaking as well as the creaking heart. And you can craft the creaking heart, but you can also just silk touch it in like a normal forest. But in order to craft it, you need 2 pale oak logs and a block of resin. We'll go into resin later. And in order to activate it, you need to have a creaking block attached to 2 pale oak logs in the same direction, and then it'll activate. It'll be orange just like this, otherwise it's just going to be like dark. They also make very cool sounds, and it only activates upon nighttime. Now during nighttime it will spawn a creaking, and creakings are a very fun mob. Where's the creaking? Hello, Creekster. Mr. Creaking. Well, I'm just gonna spawn one in. Yeah, I'm not gonna hit this guy because he isn't attached to a heart, so he's just gonna die instantly. But usually when these are spawned in, they're attached to a heart and you cannot damage them at all. You can't kill them. The only way to kill them is to break the heart itself, but since this one's not attached to anything because I just spawned it in, it's just gonna die from a hit. Like that. Usually it doesn't do that. It has very unique dying animations, as well as walking animations, attack animations. I think they do about like 3 hearts of damage. And yeah, overall, very cool mob. They're also kind of creepy. I don't like the way they walk, and the way they twitch their head, and the way they do anything. But a fun thing you can do with them, if this was a real one, I would hit it, and it would it would show little particles to show back to where the creaking heart is, and it would generate these little resin clumps right here, like this. But unfortunately, since you're a loser with no attachment, you can go away. But yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention: creaking hearts themselves actually do have redstone properties. So if you hook them up to like a comparator or something, they will. If you hook them up to a comparator, they will activate, and depending on like the position of the creaking itself, it will determine the strength of the redstone signal. So for example, if the creaking is super far away from the heart, the signal will be like relatively weak. Well, however, if it's like super close, it'll be very strong. Ooh, creepy noises. But yeah, let's move on to the last main bit of the update, which is resin. Oh right, resin. Let's go. Now resin, obviously you get it from the creaking itself. You punch it, the creaking heart kind of releases resin clumps. And I placed the resin. You can place the resin clumps. I put them all over the place for some reason. It's kind of cool. I like the orange. But there is more you can do with it. For example, you can craft 9 resins into a full resin block. So here we go. I got 7. And these break instantly. You don't need a tool for this at all. However, you can also cook it into a resin brick. And resin bricks are a tad bit stronger than good old normal resin. And I'm gonna need a little bit more. With resin bricks, you can make all sorts of stuff. You can make the slabs, you can make the stairs, walls. You can also make chisel resin, which is the face of a creaking. Very cool. And there is one more thing you can do with resin bricks, and that is use it to craft, no, not craft, smith armor. So I got a little netherite gear with some armor trims, and we're going to apply a resin brick with the armor trims and create a nice bright orange design on this set of netherite armor. Here we go. Let's put it on the armor stand, and this is a very nice, beautiful, vibrant orange. It's a lot brighter than copper, so if you like more vibrant orange, you can pick the resin bricks. Unless you want like a less vibrant, more dampened orange, then you can choose copper. Overall, very loud, but also very nice set. But yeah, that's it for the Garden Awakens update. Overall, I give this a solid 7 out of 10 for our first like big game drop. And obviously these are going to be very fast. Like this has been like what, 2 months, maybe even 3. I think it's 3 months by the time this is released, and we've already got the stuff. So like that's very fast for like a Minecraft update. And we're gonna get another one like very soon, because like I think the next live is literally next month. So but yeah, that's it for the update. And if you enjoyed this video, the coverage, leave a like, subscribe, and without further ado, this will be Veil 2059 ending the video. Bye.